Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for the rest of 2025. We're going to do something different. Each row is going to represent something different. So your first row, and I will tell you at the beginning of each row what it represents. Your first row is going to represent what is being revealed to you between now and the end of the year. You have this inner peace card and this success card. So you could definitely be, I think you are focused on creating more peace, but probably it's kind of funny that you have the success card as well, because I do think it is through your success or successes that you're hoping to have in your life at this time. And so, I think that's, Pisces has probably not had much peace over many years in their finances or in, whatever it is that they've been working on. And so a lot of your, comfort over the coming years will probably come from, doing things that, bring you more peace and also, make you feel more secure. But this is probably going to be financially as well. So, I kind of feel that's what is going to be revealed to you between now and the end of the year, is like how you can create more financial peace or something like that. You have the Devil, the Three of Pentacles, and the Four of Pentacles. It's kind of funny because I also feel what's being revealed to you at the end of the year here is like where you can be more responsible, which kind of makes sense with Saturn, retrograding in your sign at the end of the year here, Pisces, with that Devil. Technically, the Devil represents Saturn in Capricorn. And so, a lot of people read the Devil as Capricorn, which, I believe the Devil could be Capricorn as well. But, what I would say is technically it's Saturn in Capricorn, but I also think it can just be Saturn. So a lot of you, what's being revealed to you for the rest of the year is like where you can be more responsible. I think there are a million things going on in my head here, Pisces. Like you could be seeing the responsibilities that are causing burdens in your life, or you could be seeing the responsibilities that are just a burden to you and that really aren't helpful at all. I also feel that you could be seeing things that are just like stealing your energy. I also, on top of all of that, Pisces, I feel that you could be seeing like the things that keep you stuck in a trance, where it's like, you ever have one of those moments where you just like can't get out of your head no matter what, something, like, again, I don't really have any good examples, but, if you have like a bad day or something and you get stuck in a mood that you can't shake off, there's like something about that's popping into my head with the Devil, where you could finally be seeing like what it is that is keeping you stuck. It could be like emotional, it could be pretty much anything, and I feel like you're seeing how to set yourself free from things that have kept you stuck. I also feel like it has given me like this clouds parting type of energy. I don't know, Pisces. This to me feels like maybe the past several years, like more than 3 years. I would say since like the beginning of COVID. I don't even, whenever that was, 2019 or whatever. It's like maybe you don't realize how much of a fog that you have been in. And I don't know, this feels good to me though, Pisces. Well, we're going to keep clarifying. We'll see what comes up, but pretty interesting. You have the Three of Pentacles. I feel like you're going to be seeing as well, or what could be being revealed to you. I'm cheating a little bit because of your astrology. This makes perfect sense to me that Pisces will be seeing like how valuable their own work is. And, I also, because for many years, Pisces, I think you have been maybe comparing yourself too much to other people, and I think this has kind of almost prevented you from making progress. And now at the end of the year here, I feel you are maybe putting a project out into the world or creating something in the world, and you could just, it's like you could be seeing how good you are at something, and I feel the universe is trying to reveal that to you. You also have the Four of Pentacles. Again, the Four of Pentacles is a little bit of a stuck energy. I kind of feel the universe is showing you where you've been playing it too safe as well with this row. When you think about it, the Three of Pentacles is about having to put something on display. So I feel for the rest of the year, the universe is going to be showing you like where you should be showing off and where you should be putting things out into the world as well. It's kind of funny because Seven of Pentacles to the world is kind of like saying to you, no one is going to know how good you are at something unless you put it out into the world. So I kind of feel like what's being revealed in this first row is you, Pisces. You are revealing yourself. With the devil, it's funny that I said Capricorn. You have the Queen of Pentacles, which is Capricorn. You have the World, which is Capricorn. You know, you have a lot of Earth here. This isn't really meant to be a love reading, but it is popping into my head. If you want love, there could be like a Capricorn coming in for you here, Pisces, or Taurus. You have both. You know, it could be just be an earthy person that's coming in for you. So, you know, it could be love that's being revealed to you. I also feel that, you know, definitely where you're maybe playing it too safe in your finances, the universe is going to show you like where you're playing it too safe and where you could take some bigger risks. With the Three of Pentacles, you have the Four of Wands. There you go. So definitely could be love that's coming in for you, or you know, strong commitment or connection. And you know, absolutely that, you know, someone could be revealing the truth, or you know, could be coming out that they're interested or whatever. So you know, there you go, Pisces. If you want love, sure, could be a deep commitment. I also feel, again, this whole entire reading, first row here, I should say, talks about freedom. Devil, you know, I was talking about like a trance that you're stuck in, or, you know, I don't know if that's completely accurate, but whatever. And the Four of Pentacles, Four of Wands is being set free. So I think you are kind of being shown where you could be set free. With the Four of Pentacles, you have the Three of Cups. Again, finding your tribe. So again, if you've been holding back or not showing your work, this actually comes up in your astrology quite a bit. You had Pluto in your 11th house. I don't know. There's something about, you know, and yes, I know that Pluto is not in your 11th house, but but it was for many years. And in Capricorn, which is like, you know, building a following, which is like people who follow you, the groups you belong to, things like that, right? We have Jupiter in Cancer right now. You can't make this shit up. It's like the second Pluto leaves Capricorn, basically, Jupiter, you know, within a very short period of time, astrologically speaking, Jupiter entered into Cancer. And the fifth house can be like hobbies, you know, self-expression, but it can also kind of have to do with groups of people and the people you surround yourself with. Some of you could be like building a following, finding people who just support your work, things like that. And, you know, what's being revealed is also like where you could make an impact in the world. So that's also going to be popping up for you here. Your next row is going to represent what is being kept hidden from you at this time. And you have this crate card and this surrender card. It's probably something you're hiding from yourself. It really is like what you can create. I don't think anything is being necessarily kept hidden from you here, Pisces. I feel this is like more you hiding something, and not in a bad way, like as in you need to, you know, express something or put something out into the world that you've been working on or have been wanting to create. And really, it's just that simple with this row. You have two cards here. You have the Fool, the Page of Wands, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles. The Fool is kind of like taking a leap of faith. The Page of Wands, you know, I've been saying this to you for years. With Neptune and Pisces, you're not really going to know what's going to happen. You know, I think normally when Neptune is not in Pisces, Pisces has a very deep knowing. You know, it's like you can come up with an idea and it's almost like you kind of do know what's going to happen before you do it. I think with Neptune having been in your sign for like 14 years-ish, you know, it maybe for the past, you know, many years, it's been hard to know if something is going to work or not. It's almost like the, you know, Neptune and Pisces is trying to get Pisces to trust themselves. You know, luckily, of course, this will be getting better next year when, you know, because in January, Neptune moves back into Aries. But, you know, I think between now and the end of the year, it's kind of like, but even at that, you know, what I want to say to Pisces is you are definitely in a time where the universe is trying to see if you have the guts to, you know, do something, you know, exceptional with your life. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it will be worth it. And so I feel the universe here is kind of like showing you that you have the opportunity to be exceptional if you put the work in. And that's what I would do with these cards. Take the leap of faith. You have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles says, is the juice worth the squeeze? I do feel this for Pisces, that a lot of you probably have at least one thing that isn't worth it in your life right now. And the Seven of Pentacles is just encouraging you to make that change, right? So he's looking at what he has grown in his life and he's saying, is it worth it or not? Or is there something better that I could be doing with my time? And so a lot of you could be, you know, kind of like deciding what's worth it, what's not worth it to invest in. Kind of makes sense with the Devil showing up in this reading as well. So definitely something I would think about with the Seven of Pentacles. I also feel that there, you know, could be a lot of financial improvements for you, but, you know, these financial improvements are not going to come from staying in a comfort zone or playing it safe or anything like that. Now, I'm not telling you to take ridiculous risk with your finances, But what I am saying is it's like, if you're going to work on something, you have to go all the way. You can't just dip your toes in the water, as I say. That's what I mean by you have to kind of, make it happen, right? And so the Seven of Pentacles is definitely saying that. You have the Knight of Pentacles here. Again, we're looking at what's being kept hidden in this row. I really, again, don't feel like anything is being kept hidden. I think, like I said, that this is more something that you have not fully embraced yet, and it feels like a project or an idea to me. The Knight of Pentacles, all he has to do is plant seeds in that field behind him, and they will grow. So he just has to put the work in, and he'll be successful, right? And so I feel this is more talking about maybe something that you have not yet revealed. The other interesting thing I want to point out here, Pisces, is we have the Fool to the World. In a reading, whenever I have the Fool to the World, like right next to each other, to me, this kind of represents going through a cycle very quickly. In the major arcana, we go from the Fool to the World. It's this big adventure. It's the Fool's adventure, or the Fool's journey. And whenever I have them right next to each other, to me, it's saying you have the opportunity to do something very quickly. We don't have the entire major arcana between those two. It's like you could, I think you could make like years worth of progress at the end of the year here if you, put in the work. With the Fool and the Page of Wands, you have the Queen of Swords. Yeah, really good time for answers. I do think this Mercury retrograde is actually going to be good for you here at the end of the year, because that will be happening in November. Because I think it will bring you a lot of clarity, and maybe in your career or work or something that you're working on. So I think this is just clarity. With the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Fool. Again, it's like, yes, you already know that something isn't worth it. If you're thinking about something too much with that Seven of Pentacles, the Fool could be asking you to like take a leap of faith towards something new. He might be over analyzing those Seven Pentacles and thinking too much about those pentacles. So it might be time for you to take a leap of faith, clearly. With the Four of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Four Swords. Four Swords is about resting, relaxing, recovering, needing to heal. I think you've done enough healing. I kind of feel this is, again, saying that you are ready to take the leap of faith. Your next row is going to represent the adventure the universe is sending you on at this time, at the end of the year. You have this Sun card, it says source. In this third house, it says communication. Yeah, I think you need to communicate from your center, basically, Pisces. We have also Uranus and Gemini. Now, Uranus will retrograde back into Taurus, which definitely, is probably going to affect your communication, this Uranus retrograde. But I think that the Uranus and Gemini for the next several years is going to kind of have to do with your communication, even though, for most of you, it's probably your fourth house. It doesn't really matter. I still think it's going to affect your communication. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini. Uranus loves being in Gemini. I think that it will probably change the way you communicate with the world. And the Sun card is about attention. And so I think that you need to get attention on yourself for your ideas. And, it could be the adventure the universe is sending you on, because you have the World, the Moon, and the Knight of Swords, sorry. The Moon is you. The world is sometimes how we stand out in the world, or where we get attention in the world, or it's saying we need to do things to put ourselves on top of the world. So I feel for a lot of you, Pisces, that the adventure you're going on is definitely one of kind of like how you communicate with the world. Now, this might not be with your words. We communicate in many ways: how we dress, how we look, everything that you could possibly imagine, the car we drive, whatever, right? And, you might not like it. Sometimes people say, like, what do you mean the car we drive? Are you talking about materialism? No, I am not talking about that. But, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. No matter what, we communicate with everything, whether you like it or not. So, I don't know, too bad, right? But I think a lot of you could be dealing with that, like thinking about how you communicate with the world and how you want to communicate with the world, how you want to get attention. And I think this could be a good adventure that you go on, and of course make it positive, right? Do things in a positive direction and good things will happen. I also literally feel you are completing a very quick adventure here with the whole Fool to the World thing. Like I said, I think you have the opportunity to make like a year's worth of progress at least at the end of the year here. And this could be in like work, business, career, pretty much anything. You have the Moon. The Moon is you, Pisces, how you stand out. I feel like you need to actually shine more with the moon card as well. The moon can sometimes be keeping things hidden. The trick with the moon is that we have to risk vulnerability. We have this lobster here. The lobster is wearing its emotional armor, and lobsters don't they can't really walk around on land too well. And so the lobster represents needing to be willing to be vulnerable. Being willing to be open to criticism and things like that. And I definitely feel that's true for you, Pisces. If you're trying to accomplish anything, being willing to, it's like you have to be willing to be vulnerable and you have to be willing to speak up and say what you think and all those other good things to get the right attention, right? And so that's what I would be doing with the moon card is like, don't fear vulnerability. Next, you have the Knight of Swords. I also feel like you have to like charge forward here. The thing is that the Knight of Swords, I think sometimes in a reading that he's running up to whatever the next card is here, Three of Swords in this situation, and then he's running away. He's like trying to keep himself safe. The Three of Swords could be heartbreak. I feel for some of you this could be a potential heartbreak. Anytime we get into a new relationship, there is potential for it to end in heartbreak. That's how life works, right? And so I feel like the Knight of Swords is saying like if you do want love to... You have to potentially be open to being heartbroken. Even though that might not happen, there's always a chance, right? With the World, you have the Four of Pentacles. Yes, Uranus in Gemini for the next many years until 2033. Your living situation could be, it really wouldn't surprise me if you were deciding to adventure more over the next many years, Pisces, because of Uranus and Gemini, right? It will cause you to make changes in the home. It will cause you to change your home, literally like moving and going into new places. It could have you setting up some sort of alternative living situation as well. So, you know what I mean? It's like all these things make a lot of sense. But I feel like the Four of Pentacles is encouraging you to leave a comfort zone and to literally go on an adventure. With the Moon card, you have the King of Swords here. Yeah, we have the King and Queen of Swords here to the Three of Swords. I would definitely be careful of any past people here, Pisces. I don't really like the King and Queen of Swords. They can represent two people who aren't talking, two people who don't see eye to eye. I'm still not sure where this is going because, again, this isn't meant to be a love reading, but it is popping into my head. And, it's like, there could be a need to avoid a past heartbreak is kind of what I'm getting. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Seven of Pentacles. I think you need a change. I don't even know how to describe this energy that I'm getting off of the Seven of Pentacles, which you have twice in this reading now, because it's almost like boredom, but I don't really think that's necessarily the right word. I feel it's like a mixture of boredom and playing it too safe is kind of the energy I get here with the Knight of Swords and Seven of Pentacles. I also know, it's hard for me because I know your potential, Pisces, and I'm always begging Pisces to kind of exceed their own expectations for their life because I know you have the potential to do that. And, the Seven of Pentacles, I feel saying, like, you've already grown so much, but now it's time to, like, grow something else. Now it's time to make a change, and I think you probably know what this is in your own life, but it's like you have to go and do it. And, that's what this card wants you to do. Next, we are going to look at what pattern do you need to release at this time. You have this Cancer card. It says, nurture all that you love. It says, take time to care for your well-being and nurture the things that you love. You have this infinite possibilities. It says you are on the right path. Favorable energies are guiding you at this time. You also start with the Empress, which is nurturing energy. So is this a pattern that you need to release? No, I actually think this is probably a pattern that you need to embrace, at least this part of it, right? I think you need to spend more time nurturing the things you love. The challenge for you, Pisces, is obligation. I think also when next year, when Neptune and Saturn go back into Aries, I'm going to next year, I will probably be encouraging you a lot to look at your obligations because obligation is not necessarily the answer for Pisces. Now, of course, I feel like I shouldn't have to explain this, but I do, believe it or not. Obviously, if you have something like children, yes, I understand that is an obligation that you can't just get rid of. I totally get that. So there you go, right? And I'm sure there are others that are in there. I just don't have time to list them all, right? So obviously, we can't get rid of all obligations. But I feel like this is saying there are some obligations you have that are obligations because you feel like you have to do things because you feel like you have to take care of people, right? So I think this is saying you need to do things that bring you, the new pattern that you need to create here is that you need to nurture more of the things that you love because it will bring abundance into your life easier. I just feel like you are doing something that is like wasting your time and you don't even realize it. And, it feels like abundance, like financial to me or something like that, where that you probably have these ideas to grow, to do something different. And if you would do it, I think it would give you a lot of abundance. I think the lie that you might be telling yourself is that what you're doing is bringing security. It might be. It might be providing you with, like, you might have a job that's giving you money. And yeah, sure, maybe there's a certain level of security that goes along with that. But I feel like what you could have is so much greater. And this reading, I feel, is encouraging you to, like, break the pattern of not taking care of yourself and to embrace the pattern of truly taking care of yourself, which is not what other people want, right? So I think you need to pay attention to that. Next, you have the Hierophant. Makes perfect sense with Neptune and Pisces. Neptune and Pisces is a direct challenge to traditional belief. Of course, this year is the last year Neptune will be in Pisces in our lifetimes, basically. And so with the Hierophant is traditional belief. You could be literally breaking some old patterns. Traditional belief is just things that you have always believed just because. And, maybe there's no reason, or maybe you were raised a certain way to believe certain things that you don't believe any longer. And so, these cards want you to, kind of break those beliefs that have kept you stuck for a long time, and they want you to expand. The other thing I think the universe wants you to know is that you can literally create heaven on earth. The Hierophant, he communicates with both sides, heaven and earth. And he's able to communicate his vision from heaven down to earth. And I feel that you need to do more of that. And is that really a pattern you're breaking? I don't know. Next is definitely a love pattern that I think you need to break here, Pisces. Kind of makes sense based off of having Pluto and Capricorn for so long. I also think Neptune and Pisces as well. With Neptune and Pisces, the fantasy, we get too stuck in the fantasy of a connection when there is no reality. So the problem for Pisces, is it really a problem? I don't know, because I think Pisces sometimes likes being in fantasy land, and I think it can hurt after, but again, I think the pattern you need to break is getting into relationships that never become grounded on earth in reality, right? And so this could be something to think about. I think that, it's a good time for love for you, Pisces. But again, if you're getting into something with a person where there is no reality, it's like, maybe the person's playing games, or maybe it's a long distance and you're never going to meet the person or whatever, right? This is about needing to tell the universe, like, no, I'm going to get something real here on earth that is grounded in reality. And I think that's what you need to do here. With the Empress, you have the Six of Swords. Yeah, moving on to calmer shores. Life does not have to be chaos. The thing about this card is they're in choppy waters on that card. The thing about the Empress is she has this waterfall behind her, and the waterfall represents chaotic force. But she's able to create abundance. She doesn't have to be sitting in the chaos. She understands that there is chaos always in life. That's how life works. But that doesn't mean she has to be a part of it. She can focus on what she needs to focus on in her life to create a good life and abundance and to nurture herself, and she can move on from the chaos, right? So it's almost like this is saying you need to be very careful of your reality, world, and the Empress there. You need to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with nice, calming energy. Here you go. With the Hierophant, you have the World. Again, so literally just what I said. So, I think this is about kind of creating heaven, a little slice of heaven on earth. Now, again, can we ever truly, completely eliminate chaos in our lives? Probably not. But, eliminating things that we don't need that create chaos will make our life a little bit smoother. With the Three of Swords, you have the Death card. Yeah, you need to bury this and say goodbye right here. With the Three of Swords and the Death card, whatever this is here, it could be a cycle that you've repeated with a person. It could be a different cycle that you've repeated that is the same with different people. I'm sure if you're like me, you've probably repeated the same cycle with multiple people. This is basically saying, why? Why do you go for the goth chicks, right? Why do you, Why do you date those people that are going to cause a problem in your life? I don't know. I can't really answer that question, but it's like, if you keep seeing warning signs, the same warning sign with the same person over and over and over again, maybe it's time to try something else. Maybe it's time to try something different, right? And that's what I would do there, Pisces. Next, we're going to look at what ridiculous goal should you pursue at this time. And now, here you go. This card says fulfillment. That is the ridiculous goal that Pisces needs to chase right now. Not chase, attract. It says peace, harmony, satisfaction, in alignment, acceptance, happiness, positive mindset, in your power. World and the Empress. I was like literally saying this. It's like I think you need to let go of the need for things to be chaotic. I think when we experience too much chaos in life, it becomes part of our identity, and we just think that things have to be chaotic, but they don't. You have a seduction card. It says passion, pleasure, temptation, beauty, attraction, chemistry, flirting, play, sexual intrigue, and mating dance. Yes, I think again, it's funny that I corrected myself and said don't chase, attract, because I think there's something to that. It's like maybe you get and I mean, I don't know. I know how Pisces operate, so sometimes I think Pisces gets excited about a person and it seems like they're chasing. You know what I mean? It's like maybe it seems like Pisces is chasing a person, then they chase them away. And so I think this is saying you need to be more in that seduction attraction mode where you allow someone to, I think it's time for Pisces to be chased, if that makes sense. And that's what I would do here. You have the Nine of Wands, the Five of Pentacles, and the Seven of Swords. Yeah, I think the ridiculous goal that you should pursue is your ridiculous dream, whatever it is. Neptune and Pisces, again, is, you like I say to you all the time, Pisces, you have one more chance to really, if there was ever a time for you to accomplish something that seems impossible, it would be right now. Nine of Wands is my card of experimentation, and it's my card of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. I think there's something you've always wanted in life, probably multiple things, and I literally feel the Nine of Wands is saying it's time to go after that, whatever you have always wanted. And that's what I would do with that Nine of Wands. You have the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles, it can represent feeling left out in the cold, but again, the question we're asking here is what ridiculous goal should you pursue? Wealth, Pisces, Empress, all these other great wealth cards showing up here, financial freedom, and, not having financial burdens, and finally letting go of that old financial story that you've experienced for a long time. I've said it to you for a long time that you had Uranus in your second house for a long time, for about 8 years or whatever it was, when it was in Aries. And Uranus in Aries is very challenging, and especially in the second. So I think that, even though Uranus is 2 signs away now in Gemini, was in Taurus for a while, and now it's going to be in Gemini until 2033. It's going to retrograde in November into Taurus, but, I think that it's time to change that financial story. It's time to, truly support yourself financially, and a lot of you could be trying to do that. You have the Seven of Swords. Yeah, I think that you need to realize that your life is unique. I've said this to you before. I think you need to realize that no one's like you. No one. You are going to have a very unique life if you choose to, Pisces. And yeah, at first people might call you crazy, but then they're gonna hop on board and they're gonna follow. So. I think it's time for you to march to the beat of your own drum. It's time to kind of be unique and do your own thing here, Pisces. So let's see. With the Nine of Wands, you have the Four of Cups. Yes, I think it's time for you to undisappoint yourself. I feel you've dealt with too many disappointments. I think it's time to believe that good things can happen for you and that you can manifest or create or do or be or have the things you want and desire. And yeah, it's almost like you're proving that to yourself. It's time to try something again as well, Pisces. He's tried something 3 times before. Now he's being offered a new cup. This definitely could be a new love offer. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Three of Wands. Yes, the whole entire reading wants you to expand, take up more space. We talked about, somewhere over here, we were talking about you standing out. And you kind of shining in some ways, you communicating in a different way to get more attention. I think all that would be good for you. And with the Seven of Swords, what do you know? You have the Empress. Things just come to the Empress. In a lot of ways, there are 900 cards in this reading. And I feel like this card is kind of the summary of your entire reading. If you could just do this between now and the end of the year, I think things would go really, really well. She attracts. She is in the position of attracting, and she isn't worried about what's going on for her. It's almost like if you would just do those two things. Eliminate worry. Yes, there are going to be plenty of things to worry about between now and 2033. Mark my words. But also this year, I guarantee you we will see some crazy stuff happen between now and the end of the year, right? And, it is what it is. And, so eliminating worry, especially on things you can't control, is going to be important. And also allowing things to be easy. I'm not saying life is going to be easy, but she does not struggle. She chooses not to struggle. If you're doing things, anything, working on your health, your business, relationships, or whatever, she does not do things that would require a struggle. She just makes that choice. You need to find the smooth solution to everything that you're doing. And again, I'm not saying that part is going to be easy. You're going to have to do some research. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be there to hold your hand through it, but I believe in you. So I believe that you can find these easy solutions. And if you do, then things will start coming into your life. Pretty interesting reading here, Pisces. I like this quite a bit. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know how you like this style of reading. And definitely enjoy the rest of your year.